You know how many men currently don't like their wife? They like sleeping with her. They like when she cooks and cleans. They like her having kids, which are the things we're told women are for. But they don't like her.
Some men hate their wives. Not all men love their wives. Most men marry their wives just because of what they want to get from her. Either childbirth, they want her to bear children, they want her to cook and clean, they want a domestic wife or free labor kind of thing. So when you look at it deep down, you will know that most men don't like their wives. I'm sure this is not the first time you're hearing something like this, but if this is your first time hearing something like this, you're welcome. Let's go ahead and watch this video to the end. This is coming from a man telling us that not all men love their wife. Let's watch this video together.
Think of the implications of feminine equals bad when you try to have a relationship with a woman. We feel it. Yeah, absolutely. It starts off when you're a little kid and it goes all the way until you're married to another person. Little girl falls down, scrapes her leg, she starts crying. Somebody's gonna come over, oh my God, are you okay? Here, let me get that disinfected, maybe kiss and make it better or something like that. Like they'll actually comfort and help the child. Me as a kid, when I fell down and scraped my knee, you know what I got? Taunted. What, are you gonna cry like a little girl? Is that what you're gonna do? You're gonna cry? Go ahead and cry. And you know what? No, I didn't cry. I would fight tooth and nail not to be looked at like a girl. In fact, short of racism, being called a girl was the worst thing you could call me growing up, which tells you the way that boys are conditioned to think about girls. We carry that into adulthood. Being called a girl is like the worst thing you could, or even implying that you have feminine traits is the worst thing you can call a guy. You think that just disappears when we get married? You know how many men currently don't like their wife? They like sleeping with her. They like when she cooks and cleans. They like her having kids, which are the things we're told women are for. But they don't like her. They don't like her hobbies. They don't like spending time with her. I worked at a hospital for almost 5 years. Do you know how many men stayed at work way after their shift was over? Like their shift ended at 6 and they'll leave at 9 because they don't want to go home because their wife and kids are at home. This is a problem. This is why I'm very pro-divorce. And I'm also very pro post-divorce photo shoots. Because maybe you want to see how good you look after you've dropped 200 pounds of dead weight.
I personally always enjoy this guy's content. I'm going to try and link his page down in the description box. So then, hey guys, and welcome back again to my YouTube channel. My name is Maria David and I am back again with another interesting video. Do you agree that most men do not like their wives, or they just like them for what they do? And that is why when you see men, they always enjoy hanging out with their guys, with their dudes. They can't say no to their dudes. They always respect their dudes. They always want to be, in short, when their men or their guys call them at any time, they are always there. They can even go as far as borrowing money just to satisfy their dude. But hardly will you see them doing that to their woman. You know, they easily say no to their woman. They easily do not even want to spend time with their woman. They will go as far as staying late at work just because they want to avoid being at home with the woman and with the children. They see going home as a work, or they see going home as something that I don't want to spend so much time. We even see men that goes to work Monday to Saturday. They work from early morning till late night, and at the end of the day, Sunday, they're supposed to stay at home and, you know, spend quality time with their wives and children. Or maybe there's no kids, maybe just with their wives. They still go as far as hanging out with their friends that Sunday. They find that time to hang out with their friend instead of having that quality time with their wives. And when you look at it this way, you see that yes, men don't really like their wives. Like, I don't know, some men don't really like women. They are not gay. They will tell you they are not gay, but they really don't really like women, if that makes sense. Let me know your thoughts about this down in the comment section. I have interesting stitches to share with you also. Sit down, relax, and let's watch the stitches together.
You know how many men currently don't like their wife?
So I peeped from a very early age that a lot of people who were married or partnered that I observed in my lifetime, they didn't actually really like each other. And it always felt like really obligatory. And it just didn't feel like anything that I would ever aspire to in my personal life. And I used to always wonder, like, how are so many people who seemingly don't like each other partnered? Like, what is the reason? So as I've gotten older and I, via the internet, I get to see so many people's takes on their relationships and why they're in them and their pursuit of them and yada, yada, yada. And I realize that men and women alike, a lot of us want relationships for all the absolutely wrong reasons. Like men, I think I've been on this platform enough, and a lot of us have seen and just observed in our lives that a lot of men just want the prestige or the assumed prestige of being a husband and a father, and they don't actually care about the day-to-day minutia and the work that it entails. I think we can all understand that pretty much collectively by now. But also women, I realize over the years, a lot of women just have a timeline, and anyone who's there in the midst of that timeline can just come along for the ride. And that, I think, is also a recipe for disaster. And I feel like that kind of woman and that kind of man, as I referenced earlier, are two sides of the same coin. Because anybody who's in that seat by the time you're ready to get married and you want to get started on working on a family, like, they can have it. It's not even necessarily that you really care about this individual person. You just have a timeline, and you want that timeline to go off without a hitch. And whoever happens to be in the hot seat in that moment is who you're taking along for the ride. It's not really about that person. And that's how you see so many, or that's how I have seen so many people who sit across from me at restaurants, and I'm sitting there by myself and I'm having more conversation than them two people who sitting across from each other, because they're not really friends. They're not really cool with each other. They don't know anything about each other's hobbies. They don't care about what each other likes to do in their spare time. Like, he wanted the look, he wanted the prestige, and she wanted to do this within a certain time frame, and they ended up together. And then they create children who have a very warped sense of what love and marriage and partnership is supposed to look like. And the saga continues.
At 9 because they don't want to go home because their wife and kids are at home.
This is why I don't understand why y'all want to be wives so bad. A lot of these men are getting married because it's guaranteed somewhat regular spicy time, y'all becoming a free assistant, and it's a good cover-up. Men love to tell people that they're a family guy. They'll tell people that they're a family guy just to take their wedding band off and slip right inside somebody else. And I'm sorry, a lot of y'all be forcing these men into marriage. And I think you be doing it just because it makes you feel special. It makes you feel like you finally got picked. But like, there's other ways to feel picked in life outside of being attached to a man. Nobody be listening to me when I tell y'all that these men be dirty. Not all of them, good amount. And the shit they be saying about their wives, they be hating some of y'all. Like, hating. You be all excited to get married. This man like, yeah, I'm getting married. Like, stop forcing these men into these legally binding contracts. Like, it's not cute.
They don't want to go home because their wife and kids are at home.
Good morning. My freshly faded masculine haircut is back. My father always used to tell me, when you're out in the adult world, be wary of people, especially men, who don't ever want to go home. My ex had a friend who was married with one child at the time, and her spouse spent almost the entire weekend golfing. And I don't really understand golf, like culturally, environmentally. I have a lot of issues with it, but whatever. If that's how you want to spend your time, if you truly love golf and you want to golf on the weekends, that's great. But that didn't seem like that's what was happening. And I kind of asked around guys who golfed to say, like, what was the appeal? And about 20% of them said, I like the fresh air. And, when I get my favorite club and I get like a good stroke in and the ball goes where I want it to go and it's like great and whatever. I'm like, okay, cool. Awesome. But the other 80% just kind of shrugged their shoulders and were like, it's an excuse to get out of the house. And I'd pry further and I'd be like, you work full time, so you work like 10, 12 hours a day, and you want to get out of your home even more. Don't you want to like relax at home with your family, on the weekends, or like do something, take them to the park or whatever? And they would straight up admit, like, no, I want to get away from my family. I don't know if there's data on this, but most of the men I talked to, granted this is just anecdotal, about roughly 80% of them said they only went golfing just to get away from their families, basically, to get out of the house. And when I inquired what their wives and children were doing while they were golfing, they were just like, oh, I don't know, my wife takes them to here, there, blah, 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 whatever. They didn't seem to care. It was very clear that they only golfed because on the weekends because they wanted to get away from their wives and children. There's an alarming amount of men that honestly just don't like their wives, don't like their children. And we noticed this during the pandemic because, you couldn't golf because everything was closed. But as soon as it was possible to go back to the office, a lot of these guys went back because they were desperate. They were dying to get away from their families. They could not stand being at home with their wives and kids like 24/7. They were the first people back in the office. And it just like, even in the early days when like disease, this is vaccine. So you're risking disease, you're risking bringing disease home to your family because you're just so desperate to get away from your family. And then my question is, why do you have a family if you don't want to spend time with them?
Fine. Because they don't want to go home. Because their wife and kids are at home.
I wanted to come on here and speak about this for a minute. This gentleman makes a really, really good point, a couple of actual valid points of where this has all started from. And I'm seeing a lot on TikTok how husbands or partners really can't stand their wives or partners or what have you, or their kids, and like they don't want to spend time, they don't want to make the effort, they don't want to go home, they work all day, and then they, go play golf, or they'll like go whatever, see like the guys at the bar or something. And it honestly breaks my heart. And I'm running this errand for my partner because he shows up for me, he cares about me, and I just wanted to do something nice for him. And it's just like it's just a little gesture, but I know it makes him happy. It makes me cry that there are women in this world, or people in this world in general, who are not taken care of and loved and supported by their partner. And because of these videos I'm seeing, I am in an abundance of like gratitude and love and respect for my partner. And I tell him all the time, I always did, but I think I've been like even telling him more lately. And I think he did ask me like, where is this all coming from? Like, kind of teasing me. And I just want to tell two stories as quickly as I can to get my point across. The first story is my partner shows up not only for myself and for my son, but for my family. And he doesn't have to at all. He doesn't, people. But he does. Because he cares. And he puts in the effort. He helped my aunt and uncle last weekend move. Where we live in Washington State. So he helped them move over the pass. If you know, you know. And that was like a 3-hour trip just there. Okay, just to get there. And then to get back another like 3 hours with traffic. He did that sitting in a car with my mom and my sister and my sister's husband. And I wasn't there because I had to stay home with our kid. That was too long of a trip for him in the car. Okay, that's the first story. The second story, I so badly wanted those like storage container things that lift up your washer and dryer. Simple thing, right? You would think, or I don't know, maybe it's not for some people. I really wanted that. He drove 2 hours to West Seattle from where we live up north to get it for me. My point is, everyone deserves a partner that loves and respects and shows up for them, and vice versa. Don't get me wrong. I want to see that. I'm seeing such sad, unsupportive partners on here, or like stories about them. Can someone stitch this, or anyone stitch this and tell us good stories if you have a good partner? And I really hope you do. Everyone deserves it.
You know how many men currently don't like their wife?
As somebody who worked with these guys for over a decade, different jobs, different industries, same dude every time. If at all possible, stayed at work late, volunteered to take every client out, went to every golf outing. Even though it's like a 14-hour day and you are exhausted when you come home, they would rather do that than have to deal with their wives and children. Pick a sales territory that's the size of half the country, so they're constantly traveling. Slightest traffic inconvenience or weather inconvenience, they find a reason to get a hotel in the city. Some cheat, some don't, but they don't like their wives, and they don't like their kids. When you ask them, like, well, why'd you get married? Well, she said I had 6 months to propose. So you made a bad decision, and now you've trapped her at home, and most of these women have jobs. You've trapped her at home, with a full career, kids, and a house. And it's socially acceptable for you to just not be a part of any of it, but take credit for all of it. These guys don't know how to talk to women. They don't know how to have relationships, and the entire burden gets dumped on the woman.
Alright, feel free to put your thoughts about this particular video down in the comment section. I remember a comment I got some weeks back. Someone was like, you do not post, I've never seen you post good things, or only what you post bad things. I'm like, when I see good things, I post. And that reminds me of the first stage, the lady appreciating her husband. Yeah, there are men that are just doing the right thing, but most men are not. So we have to call them out. Like, we have to call them out. How can you want to have a family and you don't want to spend time with your family? All you do is be away from them. All you do is stay at work late just because you want to be away from them. But you just want the idea of, I'm a family man, I'm a married man, I have kids, my wife's at home. You want to have that idea of that kind of life, but you don't want to be part of that life. And one of the teachers said that she went to a restaurant and the couples are not even talking to each other. Yes, some couples will be in the house for a week. In short, they're not fighting, but there's not going to be a conversation. What do you want to converse about? And it's not like there's issue. There's no issue. Just like there's nothing they want to talk about. It's not like they're enemies. But I don't know how to put it. They don't just, like, you can just be in the same room with your partner and you're not saying anything. So when you think about all of this, and when they receive a call or probably they step out, you see their mouths moving, talking. But when they are with their wives or whoever, they can't talk, they can't do all of that. And you wonder why some women want to just jump into this marriage and feel like marriage is the ultimate. Because at the end of the day, these men will tell you they love you, they want to marry, they want to start a family with you because you are available at that time. So when they marry you, finish. They don't like you. They will do things that you question yourself and be like, do this man really like me to start with? And this is what we're saying. Coming from a man, you can hear well that they do not want to spend time with their wives. They do not want to spend time with their family. They go weekend golfing. A friend of mine was telling me about a friend that her husband goes golfing every weekend. He goes to work Monday to Friday, come back, leave very early, come back late at night. Then weekends are supposed to spend with his family because they have 3 kids. He's going to leave the house, travel out of the states, out of the area, go to another state to go golfing with his friends. And you can't tell me that these men are not going to be cheating. They have opportunity to cheat, but they put the wives in the house with career, wives that can go out and make things possible. They store them in the house just because they want free labor, just because they want someone to cook for them, just because they want to go out and come back home and food is ready, somebody's ready for them to just, sleep with and all of that. When you think about it, when you really look at it in a deeper picture, you will see that men do not love their wives. It's just they like their homies, they like their own boys more than they like their wives. And that's on period. That is what I feel about this particular video. Let me know your thoughts about this video down in the comment section. Thank you all so much for sticking around to this point. I hope you enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe and all of that good stuff, and I'll see you all in my next video.